What's up guys, Card Talker here, and today I'm here with another Battle Spirits deck profile. Today we'll be going over the CB27 Strike Freedom deck that is freshly out of the oven from the new collab booster. So I am a very casual Battle Spirits player, but I will play all of the collabs I like. And so if you're a collab fighter like me, these deck profiles might help you out if you're a new player. But yeah, let's get right into the deck profile. So first up, we're running 3 Strike Freedoms. Strike Freedom is here to help you bottom deck or exhaust your opponents. And basically this is just a really good card. It combos really well with the Kira, the new Kira that lets you refresh whenever something is bounced from the field. So running 3 of these. Also it has VPS armor, so you can use this to kind of get a little bit more protection. For these deck profiles, I won't be going over all the effects because there's each Gundam or each card has a few effects, so if I go over all of them, it's going to take a long time. So I'll just tell them the purpose in the deck and how they kind of synergize with each other. Next, we're running 3 Freedoms. So this is similar to the Strike Freedom. You can bottom deck cards, but it only lets you choose 2, while this one lets you choose 25. And this one also, both of them can also help you shoot life cores into the trash after battle. So they're really good. Next, we're running 3 High Mat Freedoms. So this is the Freedom from CB13. It's quite an old card, but this card was reprinted in the new booster. So if you guys like this art, you guys can buy this card. It's a little bit more expensive, but if you're just playing the deck, you guys can get the new Freedom. It's pretty cheap. So this one plays similarly as these ones. They just help you remove cards on the board. So this one can bounce up to a total cost of 40. So it's pretty good. And this one is changed instead of advent, so you can change it and it'll be back in the reroll position. And then the flash effect lets you either get an extra symbol or it lets you refresh the unit. So I think out of the Freedoms, this one is the weakest, but it is it's still pretty good because instead of adventing, you can just change. So on your opponent's turn, if you're already advented, you can use this instead, so that because when you advent, your soul core will go into your trash, and then you can't do it again. So this one will help you bypass that. So this is still a pretty mandatory card in this deck, in my opinion. Next, we're running 3 of the Freedom, the one that can rebirth from CB13. This one is pretty simple. Whenever you play this card, you just get 2 cores added onto this spirit. So this is just to help you charge cores, and it'll help you kind of expedite your gameplay. When it is flipped over, so when it's rebirthed, or attacks, you can, all your opponent's spirits can't activate effects, and then ignoring the brave cost, you can choose all your opponent's all your opponent's 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11 cost spirits will go back to the bottom of the deck. So it's pretty good. Obviously, if they have an even number spirit, it can kind of dodge this, but it's okay. Still pretty good. And this card cannot be blocked, so that's very good. So running 3 of those. Mainly, I'm running this just to expedite my cores, so I can go into these other guys a bit easier. I always have these guys on the field with bigger numbers. Next, for the Strike Gundams, we're running 3 of the Strike Gundam from the start deck. This is just the regular Strike Gundam. On summon, you can destroy opponent's burst, which is really good. And on attack, you can get a core from your void to discard spirit. So this will help you go into your level 2, because you have to have at least 1 core in the field on this Gundam. And then when you attack, you can get another core, so it'll go to level 2, which gives it the PS armor. And then also, when it's level 2, it will be 1 cost more. So it'll become it'll become a 5 cost. And then that will let you advent on top of this. So it's pretty good. Next, for the other Strike Gundams, we're running 2 of the Strike Gundam that can rebirth. So when this card is flipped over, it will turn into the L Strike, which whenever this card is attacking, or when it's flipped over, you get 1 core that you can put on any MS, and that MS will get plus 5,000 BP. So it's pretty good, and also has PS armor, so that will help you out with your opponent. So those are all the Strike Gundams. If you don't like the ratio, you can kind of change it around depending on how you like, but I kind of like a more freedom heavy deck, because your strike freedoms cannot advent onto your strikes. So watch out for that. Next, we're running 3 M1 Ashtrays. So these are kind of your starters for the deck. They'll help you get some cores whenever you play another orb or alliance card. And then it's only once per turn, and also on your opponent's turn, whenever they add cards to their hand, you can draw, which is very, very good, especially when it's comboing with some of the other cards that we'll go over later. Also, if you don't have this and you're going second, your Strike Gundam can also be one of your starters, because you can also search, but it only searches the top 2. So it's not as good, but it's still pretty decent. Next, we're running 3 Infinite Justice. This is the burst card. So whenever you lose life, you can play this from your burst area. And this one can also just bottom deck stuff. And it's also obviously got PS armor. And the third skill, this one also lets you refresh, but it requires to have 5 cores. So it's not as good, but this is a very good card to have burst, since your freedoms don't have burst. And you can run this, if you want to run a full freedom deck, you can run the new freedom we got in the last set, but I like the Infinite Justice more, just because it combos really well with the new Atherin. So we'll go over the Atherins later, but those are all the spirits running in this deck. For the Braves, we're running 3 Kiras. This one is really, really strong, because whenever it's Brave to a spirit with PS armor or VPS armor, it can pretty much negate leaving the field once per turn. And the second effect just lets you refresh it whenever a card is bounced back to the deck or hand with this card's Brave to the spirit. So really, really good, since pretty much you'll be able to attack with this, and then you can use this card to bomb deck or bounce something, and then when that happens, you can unspend, and then you can attack again. So pretty much this card, if you have this combo, you can pretty much go for a game, because you'll attack, end of battle, you can trash one of their cores, and then unsuspend and attack again, and then if they have anything to stop you, you win. So really, really strong. Next, we're running 2 Atherins. So Atherin is here just to combo with your Justice. Whenever this is summoned from your burst area, you can play this for free, and you can also charge your cores, which is really amazing. And the on attack skill lets you kind of either bottom deck your opponent's spirit with less BP than this one, or you can affect their Grand Rocket Nexus if they have one on the field. So yeah, Atherin is also pretty good. We also have a Grand Walker Nexus of our own. We're running 3 Kagalis. This one sort of acts as a searcher as well. So whenever you do when you ever play this, you can mill the top 3 cards, and then you can grab any orb trait card from there, and then the rest is just either stopping the battle or ending the attack step. So she's pretty good. Hopefully we'll get a Grand Walker Nexus that is Lacus in a future set that can either replace this or it can use it in conjunction with this one. But deck space is pretty tight now, so the new cards will have to be pretty strong to run it. Next, we're running 3 Kusanagis. This card is amazing. So this one, when it's level 2, you can pretty much fulfill all your Orb and Strike Gundam costs, or not all, 3 of their costs, which is pretty good. And then on your opponent's turn, if they're using a cost 3 or above effect that can help them draw, they have to discard a card, which is really good. So if you have these on the field, if they search, you can draw a card, and they can draw, but they also have to discard. So it's a pretty mean combo. It just kind of stops them early game from getting too much hand advantage. So this is very nice. Next, we're running 3 Haros. Haro is a searcher for you. Helps you search for the top 2, and you can grab an MS, MA, your ships, and your pilots, or your crew. So pretty much everything in this deck you can search for. And then the level 2 is similar to your Kusanagi. If they add cards to the hand, you can have to discard a card, and then this card bounces back to your hand. So very nice. Last card in the deck we're running is 3 Artemic Shields. I know these 2 aren't Gundam, but I will be replacing them with Gundam ones soon, so it will be a fully Gundam themed deck. But we're running 3 of these simply because whenever you flip a card, whenever you flip this open, you can grab this to your hand, which is pretty amazing. Not like your... I used to run Diamond Walls, or I think it's called Diamond Wall. Let me find it for you guys. We used to run these, but these do not add to your hand. But if you don't have access to these, you can definitely run this. I also like this more because this one doesn't end the attack step. It just prevents your opponent from taking more than 1 life in your turn. So if your opponent has a card that can just end attack step, then you're pretty much boned. So these are good, but they have to end attack step. So if your opponent is playing something like Unicorn, where they would stop you from ending your attack step, then it's GG. But yeah, that's pretty much the game, the deck. Main game plan is just to have one of your starters. So you want to have, let's see, you have to have just a bunch of cards that you can start with. So mainly you want to start with these. Any of these cards, any of these 12 cards here will be really good starters. I think best is to start with Kigali, but if you have Ashtray instead, that's fine as well. Just slap your Ashtray down, and usually when your opponents, whenever you play Battle Spirits, usually your low cost units are Seekers. So if you have this on the field and they Seek, you should be able to draw with this, which is very good. If not, then Kusanagi is fine as well, because if they search and they grab a card, they have a discard card as well. So really good. And then after you kind of set yourself out, you can start going into your Strike Gundams. So these are also very good. If your opponent has a burst on the field, just play this and just destroy the burst. And these will also help you charge your cores and whatnot. So yeah, actually both of these will help you charge your cores. So when you have enough resources, you can start going into your freedoms. So obviously this will become a 5 cost, and this will become a 5 cost when you flip it over. So even if you don't have a Kira on the board, you'll be able to go into your freedoms. So that's pretty good. If you have enough resources, like for example, if you have Kusanagi in the field, and for example, if you have Kusanagi and Haro on the field, these 2 cards will already be enough to help fulfill the conditions for this one. So this, when you play your freedom, it'll only be 3 cost. So that'll be pretty good, and you just charge a core. And then from there on, you just go into you stop your opponent from having fun by bouncing them with your Strike Freedom and freedoms. And if you have Kira on the board, it'll make things a lot faster. So if you want to grab, like for example, if you don't have a Kira on the board, you want to use these to search for a Kira. That way, whenever you brave onto any of your freedoms, you can just go for a game with there. So really strong. I think this deck is pretty strong. I think it's actually topping in some tournaments now. It's got really solid engine, but I think there's some decks in the main set that is even more scary than this. So yeah, we'll see how well this deck does in the long run. But I also think it's because the Freedoms are so popular. Like Gundam Seed is very popular in Japan, so that's another reason why it's topping, because there's so many people using it and trying to win with it. So yeah, I think Double O is also pretty popular, so Double O I see topping as well. But that's pretty much it for this deck profile, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys need more explanation, then feel free to leave a comment down below. And if you guys want to see more Battle Spirits content, please leave a comment down below as well. But that's it for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. This is Kartaku, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!